oh, it has utility. But what does it even mean? Like, what kind of utility do they think that has?
I mean, it ranges from, oh, I can use this to buy a house or make it easier for me to access my favorite celebrity, or my least favorite of all. There's the worst NFT I ever heard of was you buy a shoe and you would literally earn more tokens if you go on a walk, but you have to go on a walk at a specific time. And someone was explaining this to me. I looked him dead in the eyes and said, I don't need something else to tell me what time to exercise. That literally sounds like I'm giving it a lot of time, like I'm in a jail. Like they're not thinking these things through 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and the problem with the NFT thing specifically was, well, there's a whole bunch of problems with it, but one, what everyone had wrong with the crypto thing was that, and still do to this point, is it works for natively digital things. It doesn't work for tying real world things to something digital. So NFT for a deed on a house, for example. So, okay, so you have your deed on your house is now an NFT, but if someone won't move out of your house, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to call the police. Well, how do the police know if it's your house? Well, they're going to go to the county recorder. And how is the county recorder? Well, they have it recorded there. And so what good does having this NFT for that deed do for you? It doesn't anything. It just adds more complexity, right? So it's like trying to attach a real world thing. Only Bitcoin was able to get real world electricity and turn it into something natively digital. I suppose, and being a Bitcoiner, you constantly hear people bash any new technology like NFTs. I'm not a video gamer. But I do know, people play video games, and I know people spend lots of time playing video games, and I know they spend lots of actual real world money to buy, skins or power levels. And I suppose a natively digital item like that I could take this skin and resell it on a secondary market or something like that potentially kind of makes sense in the future. That we're not seeing that, right? We just saw like JPEGs, right? The other thing was like there was so much fraud, and what most people don't realize is like it was really uncovered in the DeFi space and was basically the same thing. It was just one guy selling to the next guy to the next guy. I think there was a couple big actions that were taken against some of these companies because they were caught doing that, where it's like, hey, I sell it to you for $100, you sell it for $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, and someone's like, oh my gosh, I better jump in now. They jump in without realizing that we were just selling it to each other.
Or worse yet, they're just selling it to different wallets that they own and just wash trading it amongst themselves to make it look like there's hype. The whole NFT space, and there are a couple, 5% of projects still have some value. There are a couple of them that may exist for a long time, but beyond being a collectible, there is no inherent value. The other thing too that none of these NFT projects can give you a straight answer on is the idea that there is actually no limit. And NFT creators will always say, no, this is an exclusive drop, 10 NFTs and that's it. Cool, but the next drop you make devalues this exclusive drop because you're going to keep doing drops, and countless artists have done this. And it is a laughable cycle because you cannot create digital scarcity with anything else. Nothing else has that other than Bitcoin.
Yeah. And those are all opinions of ours, and you may or may not agree with them, but you can't agree with the fact that 95% are now worth zero, which is pretty unfortunate. But what I want to talk about was now we're starting to see the celebrities get really caught up in this. So good old Ashton Kutcher, everybody's favorite, who, actor from rom-coms and now became like a Shark Tank guy or whatever. And him and his wife, they got caught up in some pretty big legal action. As a matter of fact, they had created a NFT called Stoner Cats, and they got hit hard by the SEC. They had to basically give all the money back, and they had to pay a $1 million fine. So they had to give back all the money and pay $1 million for just playing the game.
The other thing that was really interesting about Stoner Cats, unlike the Bored Apes or whatever NFT that you're thinking of, Stoner Cats was a TV series. So it could have just as easily been released on Hulu, on Netflix, or wherever, but they opted to create this NFT with the episodes instead. So, look, regardless of the NFT craze and how you feel, like I know for a fact that Disney and Netflix and Universal were exploring NFTs for their products. how could they ever pursue them when you look at some of the biggest names in this space getting served with lawsuit after lawsuit for exploring this technology?
Well, I think the reason why is like Tom Bailu, head of Impact Theory, he also got hit really hard. He has to give back all the money plus pay a fine of $6 million. And for him, he was literally, his company was literally telling investors that it was an investment, that it was going to go up in value. So they were going to make money. So he called them founder's keys. So like if you're like Disney and like, hey, open up the DVD and here's like a sticker pack for you for your lunchbox. And by the way, download this NFT free. Like, okay, whatever, no big deal, right? It's just like part of the thing they give you. But when you're Tom Bailu, Impact Theory, and you're saying, hey, buy these things, you're going to get a bunch of extra things and they're going to be worth more money in the future. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the other side of the argument for a moment because, and this will feed into, I know some stuff that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but dynamic pricing has been a long-standing issue, especially as it comes to sports ticketings, airline flights. But now I'm seeing a lot of conversations around potentially introducing dynamic pricing to grocery stores. Walmart has rolled out 500 like price markers that you see in the grocery store. They're all digital now. So they can digitally change these prices in real time to reflect the demand in the stores that they have. That dynamic, like for a free market, it works. It should exist. But there have been a lot of grievances around these systems. One solution that I saw, this doesn't work for the grocery store stuff. This only works, in my opinion, for sports tickets.
A lot of these people are getting hit with fraud charges. Tom Bailu, Impact Theory, has to give back $7 million or $6 million, $7.7 million. Ashton Kutcher and his wife have to give $1 million fine, all their money back. And you were saying, Q, some of the things that you were seeing, like a variable pricing in grocery stores and tickets. So what were you saying there?
So on the ticket front, specifically sports tickets, like I can share the example of, I was a college student in Washington, D.C. My team's the Lakers. I wanted to go to a Lakers game. The Wizards sucked. Home games were $50 a piece, except for the Lakers, and it was a $200 ticket. Dynamic pricing, because that's a team people want to see. Instead, and the Wizards are actually the first team to have launched this, there was one section in particular, the ticket was sold as an NFT. But the reason why they wanted to do this was they left the price flat. The price didn't change game to game, but what would happen is if I purchased that ticket and then went and resold it for more money, they, the issuer of the NFT, the team, was still getting a percentage of future sales. So they didn't need to worry so much about, oh, I need to maximize my profit and get it to this certain price point because I know I can make that money. It's let the market decide that.
So you're saying like I bought it for $5, I turn around and sell it to you for $10, you turn around and sell it for $30. Every time that changes hands, they get a piece?
Yep. And it can be it's predetermined in the contract itself. So I believe the fee that they were playing around with was something to the tune of 10 to 15%. So you would.
Why should they be entitled to a fee every time it changes hands?
Because they created the product.
I mean, it's a ticket to a game.
Well, the interesting thing that they then are doing is, because most tickets are useless once you see the game. It's worth $0. Maybe some crazy fanatical fan will pay some discount for the actual ticket stub. But instead what they're doing is they're then inscribing some sort of a highlight from that game. Say some player had his 100th point ever or his 1,000th goal or whatever you want to say. I know sports better than those.
You're losing me on that one, Q. You're losing me on that one. I've seen people buying like the NFT of Michael Jordan's like slam dunk or whatever. It's like, cool, so you own it, but I also have it on my computer and I watch it whenever I want to.
Or you can go to
so that's
YouTube
where I
and
think
watch
NFTs get pretty ridiculous. I don't see that as being a super good idea, but in the world of being a capitalist, if they want to do it, sure, go ahead, by all means. It just kind of reminds me of the government that every single time you turn around, they tax you. They tax you when you earn the money. They tax you when you spend the money. They tax you when they invest the money. They tax you when you sell the asset. Like that's what kind of reminds me. Is like once I buy that ticket, it should be on me. Now I do like the fact of having it sort of as like a token that I can custody myself. And so if I want to sell the token to you, I could just sell the token to you and you have it.